So there are plenty of people who are anti-vaccine, and they have all these theories and these anecdotes that they point to as to why they think they're right. I mean, fact of the matter is they're overlooking the bulk of the evidence. There was a study that came out of France of 22 million people, and vaccine use reduced severe illness, hospitalization, and death by 90%. This is a sample size of 22 million people. If you can't look at that and say, well, this seems like the most important piece of information, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I would beg you to not work backwards from your conclusions and just go wherever the evidence takes you, okay? But I digress from that. Now a lot of anti-vax people, they understand that there's a lot of social pressure now to get the vaccine. And honestly, I think the biggest factor is the individual corporations that have decided, like, we have a hard mandate here. Now, you guys know me. Maybe I'm a softie, but I'm not in favor of hard mandates. I like giving people the option of vaccine or test. I think that's a little more reasonable, gives people room. It allows for ideological issues or religious issues or whatever. People have a right to be wrong, okay? So I'm in favor of a soft mandate, but a lot of corporations are way harder line than Kyle Kulinski. And we live, unfortunately, in a capitalist system where usually whatever your boss says goes. So a lot of companies are like, get the vaccine, no excuses, shut the fuck up. And so what people are doing is, because they realize their livelihood depends on it, is they're like, okay, I'll get the vaccine. But now there's a whole new genre that just developed. People who are anti-vax, who got the vax because their hand was forced, and now they're trying to undo the vaccine. Take a look at this article. This is something else. COVID vaccine holdouts are caving to mandates, then scrambling to undo their shots. And then the subheadline is, as mandates spread and vaccine groups have been trafficking in pseudoscience treatments meant to remove or counteract the vaccines, experts say it's like trying to unring a bell. In a TikTok video that has garnered hundreds of thousands of views, Dr. Kari Madej outlined the ingredients for a bath, she said, will detox the vax for people who have given into COVID-19 vaccine mandates. The ingredients in the bath are mostly not harmful, although the supposed benefits attached to them are entirely fictional. Baking soda and Epsom salts, she falsely claims, will provide a radiation detox to remove radiation Madej falsely believes is activated by the vaccine. Bentonite clay will add a major pull of poison, she says, based on a mistaken idea in anti-vaccine communities that toxins can be removed from the body with certain therapies. Then she recommends adding in 1 cup of borax, a cleaning agent that's been banned as a food additive by the Food and Drug Administration, to take nanotechnologies out of you. So this is a microchip crazy lady. She thinks there's microchips in the vaccine. In reality, in addition to being potentially harmful as a skin and eye irritant, a borax detox bath will not remove the effects of COVID vaccine from your body. You don't say. I love how they had to add that last line. Just so you know, not going to work. Really? Really? So they go on in the article and they point out a bunch of things that people are doing. One of the things people are doing is they take a razor right after they get the vaccine. They go right over the area where they got the shot and they like nick out a little piece of their skin. And some people say, well, that's going to, prevent you from actually having the effects of the vaccine. It'll get the vaccine out of your body because it takes a while to get from point A to point B, and so they're doing that. Another thing people are doing is, this is dangerous, trying to put a syringe in and pull out after they get the vaccine. There's a number of them, man. There's a number of them. The article lays, you go read the whole article, it lays out like a bunch of these therapies and detoxes that people are doing. I don't even know what to say about this. It's just stunning. It's just stunning. People who have the highest level of skepticism for things that are relatively clearly scientifically proven, all of a sudden, all that skepticism is out the window when it comes to any alternative treatment. And this is a problem. Look, if you're on the left, you hate Big Pharma. Rightly. Why? Because Big Pharma bought the government. And so Big Pharma gets the government to do their bidding. So they'll get extra tax breaks, they'll get subsidies, they price gouge the shit out of us for medicine. We pay for the creation of the medicine up front with tax dollars, And then they swoop in and buy up the rights and double charge us. So they charge us on the back end after we paid for it on the front end with our tax money. There's a million reasons to hate Big Pharma. I despise Big Pharma. But if I get strep throat, I'm going to have antibiotics, and that's made by Big Pharma. And that doesn't make me a hypocrite. It doesn't make me silly or wrong or naive or whatever. It makes me able to separate out basic facts and bring nuance into a nuanced conversation. And by the same token, all these people who are super anti-vaccine, I would ask them, what about smallpox vaccine, which works? What about polio vaccine, which works? What about measles, mumps, rubella? The list goes on and on. It's always funny to me. Some people have an issue with just this vaccine. What about the others? Did you not look into those? By the way, don't read some crank on those who will say those are bad too or whatever. But it's astounding to me. In order for kids to go to school, they need to be they need to have vaccines, certain vaccines, all across the country. And that never was really viewed as like a hot button political issue in the modern era. But now all of a sudden, maybe it's back in the spotlight because of what's going on with the COVID vaccine. And I don't know. I find it astonishing that this is where we're at right now. You can't. I don't like it when people are selectively critical. Selectively critical. And that's what you get with the anti-vaccine stuff and now the undo the vax stuff. It's like, don't bring your highest level of scrutiny to the traditional medicine stuff, but then with the alternative medicine stuff, you just take everything at face value. And that's what they do. By the way, this person is an osteopath, which is sort of like a fake doctor. Just so everybody understands, anytime somebody talks about alternative medicine, there's a reason it's alternative. It didn't make the cut to be actual medicine. So in other words, it's lacking the rigorous double-blind studies and all that stuff in order to make the cut to be medicine. And yeah, I have a little bit of a vendetta against the alternative medicine stuff because, I've told the story on the show before, but my dad had lung cancer and it metastasized to his back on his spine, and he was going to a chiropractor he didn't know he had the cancer. He was going to a chiropractor. He's like, it still hurts. I don't know what's going on here. And the guy's like, come back next week. We'll just crack you up real good and you're all set. This is the way this works, bro. And he went to the chiropractor until the pain was too much. Then he had to go to the emergency room, and he was getting surgery, but it was too late. He had stage 4 cancer, and he died. Part of the reason he died is because a fucking crank chiropractor pretended like he was doing real medicine. You're not. You're a glorified backcracker. You're a glorified massage therapist. Chiropractors are alternative medicine, and oftentimes the bad ones try to pretend like they're equal to normal medical doctors. And yes, I'm waging jihad against that, and I should, because it's bullshit, and they're cranks, and they're liars, and they're snake oil salesmen, and they need to be called out. So, I bring skepticism across the board, but definitely for this type of bullshit. So you can't undo the vaccine. Once you got it, you got it. But as these people are going to find out relatively quickly, you were anti-vaccine for no good reason. Because the overwhelming majority of the people who get the vaccine are totally fine, and they have 90% protection now against COVID. So maybe just getting the vaccine over time will make people feel like, oh, what was I afraid of? I hope that's the case, because stuff like this is just goofy. Don't try to undo it. It's not possible to undo it. This should be obvious, but apparently it needs to be said.